Hi, everyone. I'm Amber. I'm head of ventures at New Order. Good to see you again. So today we have the founders of Vybe here with us. Welcome, Dan and Mitch. So mainly today we're going to talk about smart contract wallets, account abstraction, external owned wallets. What's the difference between all of those? And the Vybe product itself. So Vybe is the simplest, most secure way to send your crypto to your friends without the need to manage private keys or seed phrases. And there are a lot of other features we're going to talk about. It is also, the newest, the New Order advice project in the portfolio. So we're definitely going to dive deep into technology itself as well. But first of all, Dan and Mitch, tell us a bit more about yourself. How did you start your crypto journey, and what did you do before?
Awesome. I'll let Mitch start, but one other member of our team, Steven, who leads development for us, is currently working away on Vybe right now, and so isn't able to join the interview, but I want to call him out. He's obviously a super important member of the team. But I'll give it over to Mitch and let him give an intro of himself and his background.
Yeah, so got into crypto very similarly to a lot of other people during COVID. Read the Bitcoin white paper because I was bored one day, and then from there that kind of spiraled me down a rabbit hole into discovering DeFi, and just like that piqued my curiosity, and that just leveraged me into wanting to dive deep into research and trying to really understand the nuances and complexities of the space. So from there, I founded the blockchain club at my university, University of Wisconsin, and that had led me to a lot of inroads with alumni working in the space, as well as just networking with a lot of other people, right? And that kind of turned into an opportunity with New Order, which I joined last January, so a little bit about a year and a half ago now, as I was finishing out my degree at the University of Wisconsin. But a lot of the work I did at New Order really sort of informed my understanding of, again, like a lot of the nuances in DeFi, right? It was kind of a 0 to 1 stage for me, and throughout my time there, I was leading a lot of the research efforts and ideating new project ideas and whatnot, and working with projects. And something that kind of stood out to me was the lack of user experience development in a lot of the applications that exist in crypto. When I tried to explain, different crypto projects and try to onboard my friends into a wallet, right? Like they would just stop midway through just because of all of the complexities involved. And they would have no interest in, further pursuing that journey into the space. So that sort of annoyed me. So I just went down the rabbit hole of the wallet space, right? So starting with just simple EOA wallets, like your MetaMask wallet, into smart contract wallets, into account abstraction, right? And it was kind of at this time when I met Dan, right? So this was last December. And yeah, Dan, you could take it from there.
Sure. Yeah, so prior to kind of entering the world of blockchain, I spent a good chunk of my career working at subscription businesses that were monetizing user experiences through a recurring revenue model. And a lot of my time was spent on driving product-led growth. I encountered the same types of challenges over and over again at these businesses. I worked at 3. And after my the third subscription company that I worked at, I said I can go do this again at another company and solve the same problems, or I could try to build a scalable solution. So I grabbed a couple engineers and a designer that I had worked with previously and started to work to build a solution to enable subscription companies to easily bundle their services together. And as we were kind of going through the technical solution, one of the challenges that we encountered had to do with the way that databases interact with each other, specifically payment databases and entitlement databases at these businesses. And we started to look at different solutions, and blockchain actually presented itself as potentially interesting solution to this problem. So that was my kind of foray into blockchain. I was obviously familiar with crypto prior to that, and actually owned a little bit of crypto, but I had never really dug in deeply. I never had read the blockchain, the white paper, the Bitcoin white paper. I had never kind of really dug into the technology. And on the other side of doing that, on the other side of that process, just a few light bulbs went off and saw a ton of potential, a lot of different areas to explore. And one had to do with the way that personal data was managed on the internet. And this idea is ultimately what led me to NewOrder, a very nice associate, NewOrder, reached out to me about what I was working on. Yeah, the ultimate vision for my previous company was to enable a deeper level of personalization through recommendation engines based on the tokens that lived in your wallet. So you can imagine connecting a wallet to, say, a Netflix or a Spotify, and enabling that service to understand your likes and preferences at a deeper level, a more up-to-date level based on your activity and the tokens that you held, and just receiving a better experience as a result. So I was working on this idea and pitched it to the NewOrder team, and Mitch was on the other side of that pitch. And heard, I think, the aspect that resonated most strongly with Mitch was this concept of delivering better end user experiences, of delivering, just a better experience through wallets. So that same very nice person that reached out to me at NewOrder initially connected Mitch and myself. That person happens to be Amber, who's doing this interview. Connected Mitch and myself, and we had a pretty good initial conversation. That conversation was Mitch had shared some of the research he had been doing around wallets, around the wallet space, and shared his desire to build a better wallet, build what he called like a super wallet. And midway through that conversation, I stopped Mitch and I said, please don't build another wallet. Wallets suck. Like, wallets are experiences that we all have to use in order to realize the benefits of blockchain, their infrastructure. People wake up in the morning, they're excited to check their Instagram, they're excited to check their Twitter feed. Those are applications that people love to use. No one wakes up and is excited to use MetaMask. Everyone uses MetaMask because they have to, or insert wallet, insert like any other wallet in there. It's a piece of infrastructure that you have to use in order to access the benefits of blockchain. And so we kind of looked at the problem through that lens, and we asked ourselves, what can we do now with this new infrastructure, with these new developments, specifically smart contract wallets and account abstraction? How can we use that infrastructure to deliver a differentiated and better experience? And we obviously had several more conversations since that point in time, and added, as I shared, a very important team member to Vybe, and have been building out since. So excited to talk to you more about it.
Awesome. Yeah, I actually know Dan and Mitch prior their founding of Vybe. I worked with Mitch during his time with NewOrder. Very talented researcher, very good at synthesizing information and turning to project ideas. And then as well, I know him previously when he was working on his last project. Very glad that you guys, found each other and now building a new product together. That's great. So I just give a one-sentence description of Vybe. I think it will be beneficial for the audience to hear from founders' own words. What do you think Vybe is, and not just in its current form, but also in the future?
Yeah, I think you kind of gave an intro at the beginning that was pretty apt. Where we arrived for a description of Vybe is just simple, friendly finance with crypto. And simple is extremely important. I know you asked for one sentence. That's the sentence. I'm going to explain why that's the sentence. Simple is extremely important to us, and that was kind of the foundation for our conversations and the problems that Mitch kind of highlighted. Simple kind of gets at the root of some of the problems within the ecosystem right now. And one of the things Mitch and I noticed is a lot of the tool set, a lot of the existing kind of systems and products that are built within the ecosystem are fundamentally built for traders. They're built for kind of speculative trading of cryptocurrency. And if you look at the level of complexity that it takes to use those tools and to understand the ecosystem, there's just a high barrier to entry for, the friends that Mitch was referencing. Like, think about the challenge associated with, say, onboarding your mom into crypto. Like, if you had to explain what a digital wallet was to your mom, if you had to explain what a seed phrase was, and private key management, and then you had to explain DeFi, and you had to explain all of the different protocols and how you would actually leverage crypto, there's just a really, really high cognitive load there. And obviously, there's, the market's worth $1 trillion. Obviously, there are millions of people that have gone through that friction-filled process already. It is worth it to overcome the burden of that cognitive load and educate yourself to get to the other side. But what Mitch and I arrived at is, if we are ever going to get to the billion users that this whole ecosystem talks about all the time, we have to lower that cognitive load. We have to lower the fences and the hurdles that it takes for someone to get in and start to be an active participant. This goes beyond just holding crypto and purchasing crypto, and it goes into actually using crypto. And that kind of brings us to the second part of the sentence, which is simple, friendly finance. And when we looked at the use cases for crypto and we looked at the concept of finance, we wanted to make it very, very easy to actually use crypto in your day-to-day life. Your day-to-day life for most people is social. You are interacting with other people, whether it be merchants that you're purchasing from or friends that you are socializing with. And we want to make it very, very easy within those friendly contexts to use crypto in your day-to-day life. So simple, friendly finance with crypto.
I see. So it sounds to me that Vybe is almost creating this social layer on top of crypto payments, starting from this atomic group of friends, but later on maybe expand to larger group by adding like different stakeholders, for example, merchants. That's what you're trying.
Yes. Yeah, that's correct. Again, if you take a step back and you look at the exchange, just high level, the exchange of value and how value is transferred. Value is often transferred within the context of a social group in a social setting, right? You're out to dinner with friends and someone covers the bill. You want to make it very, very easy to send value to that person for your portion of the bill. And yeah, the kind of core problem that we started with, the initial kind of problem that we discussed in some of those early conversations that we had, had to do with the fact that actually, I mean, Mitch and Amber, yourself as well, we've had these conversations, like, is a primary kind of target user for this specific product. Mitch, working at NewOrder, was being paid in crypto. There are a lot of people that are generating an income in crypto, and in order to live their day-to-day life, they are immediately offboarding that crypto into fiat in order to pay their bills, in order to transfer value into their social network. And that was crazy to us. It's crazy to us that you go to a crypto conference, you have a ton of people that are holding assets in crypto and generating an income in crypto, and they're going to dinner, they're interacting, they're socializing, and they're sending value to each other via Venmo or Cash App or WeChat. And that, again, just fundamentally didn't make any sense to us. And so it's a huge kind of component of the problem that we're working to solve.
Yeah, that's a really great point. So when I think about different user groups in crypto, I think by and large there are two groups. One is more crypto native, as you mentioned, like people who live and breathe crypto. They work in crypto, get paid in crypto, and they use crypto for daily uses as much as possible, or as much as they're allowed to. And the second group are people who just holding crypto assets as an alternative asset class, right, for investment purposes or trading purposes. In terms of, it sounds like in terms of target audience of Vybe, you're servicing the first group, but do you see a scenario where there's a convergence of two groups?
Yeah, I think it's a great question. I think with respect to the first group, there's still there's still a desire, for example, to be able to earn a return on the assets that you're holding. There's still a desire to be able to participate in the ecosystem in order to realize the upside of these particular assets, right? So with the latter group, the more kind of speculative group, obviously that's why that group is here. That group is here to realize the upside of those assets. And I think the convergence of the two is when we can make it easier in order to realize that upside, and when we can maybe provide types of upside that didn't necessarily exist before. And that kind of dives into the product and the way that we kind of see it evolving in the future a little bit. But with respect to the group that is crypto native and earning an income, yes, that is kind of like primarily the primary target for the initial product. Do we see ourselves being able to provide value and benefit to the latter group as well in the future? 100%.
And you're aiming to provide more financial services, so maybe that's where they can converge.
Yes.
Right. Let's talk about the technology itself. So one of the core USPs of Vybe is a frictionless user experience. So what does it mean exactly, and what technology are you leveraging to provide that?
I will highlight the actual experience that we are working, that we have built, and then I'll let Mitch explain the underlying technology that powers that experience.
Mm-hmm.
So as a start, when we looked at the problem and the potential solution set, one of the things that we arrived at is, in order to facilitate the easy transfer of value in a social setting, we can't use browser extensions. We can't use browser extensions in order to do that. This needs to be a native mobile application. This needs to be a seamless kind of experience, the same type of experience that you're used to with, say, a Venmo, or kind of more of a traditional Web 2 style application. And so it needed to exist on the phone. It needed to live on the phone. So that was kind of a non-starter for us. When we started to explore things, talked to a few advisors, it was, why don't you build out the proof of concepts through a browser extension? It's like much easier to do that. And that was not something that we were willing to compromise on. Like, we kind of said, what's the point of doing that? So that's a starting point. It's a native mobile application on iOS right now and coming to Android in the future. The experience is such that I think it's best illustrated in the context of like a situation. So let's say Mitch and Amber and Dan are all, getting drinks at a crypto conference, and Mitch covers the tab because he's a super nice guy. And we, at the end of the night, we're like, Mitch, really nice of you to cover the tab, but we want to send you some, we want to send you some crypto. And let's say Mitch is not currently onboarded to Vybe. He knows nothing about Vybe. I can send Mitch $20, say, worth of Ethereum directly to his phone number from within the Vybe application. Mitch will receive a text message that says, Dan has initiated a transfer within Vybe to you. Mitch clicks on the link in the text message, downloads the Vybe application, verifies his phone number, and that's it. He is into a self-custodial account, and he is able to receive the transfer of $20 worth of Ethereum from me. No seed phrase necessary. He doesn't have to write, he doesn't have to write a seed phrase down. He doesn't have to worry about management of a private key directly. And all of this is happening from his mobile device. So, as opposed to the traditional, like, remove Vybe from the equation, if we wanted to use traditional tools to do that, what that would look like is, Mitch, create a wallet. Go create a wallet of your choice, and I'll send you a transfer once you are able to send me your 18-character like public address to your wallet, and then I will initiate a transfer. There are a few kind of other nuances to Vybe that make sending that transfer much easier, and have to do with the underlying architecture, which Mitch will highlight. But one of those nuances is all transfers within the Vybe application are free. So Vybe is using a paymaster smart contract to sponsor the cost of gas fees. So there's no friction with respect to, is this a good time to send this transfer? Can I send it now? How much am I paying to send this transfer to my friend? All of those challenges and problems are being handled on the back end through Vybe's infrastructure. Mm-hmm. I'll pause there and let Mitch kind of explain what's happening with respect to that onboarding process and the abstraction away of the seed phrase and management of a private key. And then we can talk a little bit more about the experience within Vybe after you're actually onboarded.
Yeah, before we go into that, I have a small follow-up question. You give an example of how a user can be onboarded using their phones, but I would imagine that's not the only way for a user to be onboarded, right? If you already have a address, a blockchain address, or can people sign up using other methods?
Yeah, definitely. Every Vybe account is verified via a phone number. So as a point of clarity, it is a requirement that you verify your phone number in order to onboard into the application. However, you don't need to have an incoming transfer in order to download and create a Vybe account. Download the application and create a Vybe account. Mm-hmm. You can use Wallet Connect within the application to very easily transfer existing funds into your Vybe smart contract account. You can also, we expose your smart contract address, so you can initiate a transfer as you traditionally would in the past. And one of the things that we're actively working on right now is a very seamless cross-chain bridge. So it doesn't matter which chain, which network your funds currently live on in an existing wallet, you can transfer funds in from wherever they're at into Vybe in a very easy, seamless way. Again, via Wallet Connect. So Mitch can touch on the technology and the partners that we're using in order to support these experiences. But no, it's not a requirement that you receive an incoming transfer, obviously, in order to access Vybe.
I think, yeah, you mentioned the streamlining of cross-chain transactions. That's huge.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
Mitch, I mean, maybe we can start there, and then you can back into the MPC wallet interacting with the smart contract account.
Yeah. So in representing each user's account as a smart contract account, there are points of friction involved. Like, this isn't just like the most seamless experience possible. There's points of friction, and the main point of friction really is depositing funds into your account, right? It's not as simple as an EOA wallet where you have a seed phrase and you can put that seed phrase into another wallet, right? Utilize the same assets. It's you physically need to deposit funds, right? So a huge point of barrier. And when we're the stage we're at right now in developing on Polygon, right? We don't have a user smart contract accounts across all EVM compatible chains at this current moment, right? So we need to figure out a way to eliminate all friction and make it not time consuming or burdensome for a user to deposit funds into their smart contract account that exists on Polygon. So what this looks like is, from a user's perspective, you could have an EOA wallet, your MetaMask wallet, on any chain. That could be, let's say, call it Arbitrum, right? And if you have $10 USDC on Arbitrum, you can, in one click, essentially bridge the funds in a gasless manner into your Vybe smart contract account that exists on Polygon, right? So we are actually going to be utilizing a partner called Vybe to facilitate this sort of feature, right? But in this case, like, we have essentially eliminated all friction involved with actually getting funds into the network. And then, so taking a step back and talking a little bit about the different technology components that enable Vybe to deliver this great end user experience, right? So in the onboarding process, as Dan mentioned, right, it's you verify a phone number. Once you verify your phone number, on the back end, an MPC wallet is created along with a counterfactual smart contract account, right? So MPC wallet is created, and you then secure your wallet, right? So what this is essentially doing is securing your recovery key shares to allow you to recover your account in the occurrence where your mobile device was lost, stolen, broken, or whatever it is, right? And you're also given this counterfactual smart contract account that does not require the user to pay any gas fees to deploy that contract, right? It's completely free, and this is all occurring on the back end. Users then can connect a wallet, any of their external wallets. They can copy and paste their wallet address, right? And they can deposit funds from any chain in a gasless manner into their Vybe smart contract account. Then essentially they're in Vybe. They have a fully non-custodial smart contract account secured via an MPC wallet, and they can utilize all the benefits, all the features within the Vybe application itself. So we are actually using Vyconomy, their SDK, for the smart contract wallet creation, along with the paymaster. So again, as Dan mentioned, we are subsidizing all gas fees on transfers, and Vyconomy's paymaster allows us to facilitate this, as well as portal for the MPC wallet, right? So the sort of innovation here comes in our kind of like creativity in combining these two components, right? We have this MPC wallet, which in our opinion is the most secure method for a user right now to secure a user's account and all of the assets in that account. And then we have the smart contract account, right? Which delivers the great end user experience and getting all of the account abstraction benefits, which I'm sure we'll get into.
I see. So to my understanding, this is what account abstraction is. It's basically decoupling the signing as a user and the account itself. And the main difference between an EOA wallet and the account abstraction wallet is that so MPC is part of AA wallet, and that enables users to, I guess, not to manage their seed phrases. So I do have a question here, which is how are the seed phrases or the private keys getting managed? Yeah, if you can speak to that.
Right. Yeah. So there is no seed phrase, first off, right? When in this MPC wallet and then acting as the secure signer for the smart contract account, MPC essentially means that there's key shares that are generated and distributed to multiple parties, right? And there's a signing key share, right? And there's recovery key share, right? Signing key share stored on the user's mobile device in their secure enclave. Recovery key share is secured via iCloud or Google Drive, right? So again, recovery and signing will key shares are used anytime a transaction needs to be signed on chain, right? Recovery key shares are used in the occurrence where your device is, lost, stolen, or broken whenever you need to recover your account.
So there are two parts to account abstraction. We talk about MPC, we talk about key sharding. Another part is the smart contract account. Tell me what are some features it unlocks?
Yeah. I think I'll do that in comparison to like an externally owned account, which is what most people interact with when they're utilizing a wallet in the space, right? So an externally owned account, or EOA, is essentially controlled by a public-private key pair, which is really secured kind of by a seed phrase, right? And this is the primary account. Some people like to call it the first citizen account across all of these, across Ethereum and all these EVM chains, right? Smart contract accounts are not controlled by a public-private key pair. It's actually controlled by code, right? So it introduces logic, right, to allow for programmability in the account, which increases the flexibility of the account itself, and then gives off the ability to have a bunch of UX benefits, as people like to talk about, right?
Mitch, really quickly, I have one point of clarity, and we've talked about this before, but Amber, it's not a foregone conclusion that MPC is a necessity for access to AA or smart contract accounts, right? It is just the best implementation of key share management and signing keys for a native mobile application like Vybe. It's the best current solution that exists right now. One thing that Mitch and I have discussed is actually it doesn't necessarily have to be an MPC wallet that acts as the signer for a smart contract account. It can be some other entity, some other thing. I don't know what else to say.
It could be an EOA wallet, right? Like,
yes. It could be an EOA wallet. It could be an MPC wallet. It can be something else that acts as the signer for the smart contract account. So I just want to make sure that that's clear. MPC plus AA is the implementation that we chose for Vybe because we believe it delivers the most seamless, best experience possible with the technologies that exist today. Could that change in the future? Definitely. And specifically, a different type of thing can act as a signer for a smart contract account.
Yeah.
So Mitch, I'll let you continue the benefits of account abstraction.
So essentially what account abstraction then does, it essentially turns accounts from being static to dynamic, essentially brings light to these smart contract accounts and allow them to actually be utilized across the space, more widely utilized, right? So 4 through 7 is the standard for this. So then projects can then leverage that and have a compatible standard, which other projects then can utilize and create increased compatibility and composability across the space, right? So what does this create? Again, it's turning EOA wallets, I like to call our static smart contract accounts, dynamic. So we're introducing more dynamic account types into the ecosystem. And what this does, people like to say it just increases the UX in the accounts. But what does that actually mean? It means we can abstract away gas fees, right? Through utilizing a paymaster smart contract. You can have flexible signing methods, right? So Dan mentioned, like, we're using MPC, right? You could use a traditional EOA. There's other methods in the future that will use like ZK, right? And, even more so, but you're given that sort of flexibility in the security, which just, again, increases the UX and can abstract away the security level for the user, right? Another sort of feature of this is batch transactions, right? So if you have intents to perform multiple operations, right, all of that can be batched together in one click, and basically your intent or transaction is executed as such, right? And yeah, so I mean, like, just to summarize, I think the key takeaway here is smart contract accounts are dynamic. It increases the UX capabilities of what users can do in the space, right? There's no more signing multiple confirmation messages before you submit a simple transfer to a user, right? And this is in opposition to a static EOA account.
That's very, very helpful. Thank you, Mitch. Vybe is probably not the only AA-enabled wallet on the market. So from a founder perspective, what do you think makes Vybe special?
Yeah, I would start with saying Vybe's not a wallet. I would start by saying that. And this is something that I think, as a result of the technology that we're using, and as a result of the kind of conversation happening within the ecosystem around this technology, we often get kind of lumped into the kind of wallet, like grouped in with other wallets. And I think it's like super important to go back to the initial conversation that Mitch and I had when we set out to kind of solve the problems that we recognize in the ecosystem. In the conversation where I said to Mitch, don't build another wallet. We don't need another wallet. We need applications that actually solve problems. We are embedding an MPC wallet and an underlying smart contract account within the Vybe application in order to provide the seamless functionality that we've talked about over the course of this interview. We are also integrating other feature sets that are particularly interesting and exciting that differentiate the Vybe application from traditional wallets, one of which is this concept of a social feed. And if you go back to the initial problem that we talked about and the kind of onboarding of a user into the ecosystem, there's kind of a two-step onboarding process in order to become an active user of cryptocurrency. And that goes beyond just holding cryptocurrency in an easy, seamless way and being able to kind of access cryptocurrency. And it goes into actually using cryptocurrency, say, within the DeFi ecosystem. And if you look at the onboarding process from there, it's actually quite extensive. As I shared, there's a tremendous amount of cognitive load. There's a ton of hurdles. So if you were, for example, to send your mom right now $20 worth of Ethereum, if you were able to overcome the hurdle of getting her to set up a MetaMask account, a MetaMask wallet, a traditional EOA wallet, once you did that and you sent her $20 worth of Ethereum, that your mom, that non-crypto native person, their natural question is, great, what the hell do I do with this now, right? Like, how do I actually use this? And that answering that question can be weeks of research. It could be a ton of cognitive load with respect to understanding, say, what staking is, or how to lend, utilizing existing DeFi protocols that exist. Like, there's a ton of effort involved there. And you could work to educate your mom, or educate your friend or whoever it is, or they could do their own research, which we always encourage people to do. Or when you onboard into the Vybe application through that very seamless 30-second onboarding process that I talked about, and you are now in a self-custodial account and you own your assets, the next thing that you'll see, the first thing that you'll experience, is the social feed. And you will be able to see how other members within your social network, within your network, are utilizing crypto across the DeFi ecosystem. And you will be able to very easily emulate that behavior. So if Mitch, who I trust, who is a trusted member of my network, sends me $20 worth of Ethereum, and I receive it through Vybe, I create a Vybe account, again, very easily, directly from my mobile phone. And I see in my social feed that Mitch is staking Ethereum and earning, 6% as a result of doing that, or maybe he's lending USDC on, a given lending protocol and earning as a result of doing that. I don't have to go do a ton of research. I don't have to go figure out which protocol to trust. I trust Mitch. Mitch is well versed in the ecosystem. He's already made the decision for me, and I can very easily emulate that behavior in the tap of a button directly through Vybe. So as opposed to a multi-week, call it, maybe multi-month onboarding process from zero to becoming an active participant in the ecosystem, you're looking at maybe less than a minute for someone to take self-custody of an asset and deploy that asset within the crypto DeFi ecosystem.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I think just one point I want to make is, like, just to highlight the fact that we are not a wallet, right? We are utilizing accounts to deliver an application level experience, right? An account is the ability to send, hold, receive tokens, interact with other smart contracts, right? A wallet is a simple interface for that account that allows you really to connect to these other applications, these other smart contracts, right? It's a dApp connector. It's a generalized approach, right? Applications, in our opinion, right, they drive utility towards ingrained in the interface of the application itself, right? It's not there's no external reroutes to other protocols and their smart contracts, right? It's all ingrained within the application level, which just simplifies the UX.
I see. Let's say I'm a user of Argent. What would you say, like, being having access to like natively enabled or natively built applications on Vybe is the differentiating point with Argent?
Can you reframe the question? What is the differentiating point between, say, Vybe and Argent?
Yep.
Is that the fundamental question?
Yeah.
So I think Mitch just touched on natively integrated functionality, but I would again go back to the kind of social aspect and the social feed that we have built in, and say there's, like, Argent as a wallet or MetaMask as a wallet, any other wallet, whether it be an EOA wallet or a wallet, leveraging account abstraction, like, that experience does not get better. Whether or not there are 10 million people using it or 50 million people using it, that experience does not get better for that group of people as more and more people onboard. Your social feed, your ability to very easily and seamlessly send to someone via a username or a phone number, your ability to discover how your network is utilizing crypto, continues to get better and better over time as more and more people are using Vybe as an application. So for us, that is a critical differentiator. There are network effects associated with the Vybe application, and the user experience inherently continues to add more and more value the more people that are using it. Okay.
That's great. Yeah, so where is Vybe in terms of product development? When's launch?
Vybe is currently available to a small group of testers via test flights. So we have a functional iOS application right now that is enabling that very seamless onboarding experience that we talked about, is utilizing a paymaster to sponsor gas fees and zero fee peer-to-peer transfers, that has the foundation of this social feed integrated, has wallet connect functionality that enables you to import funds relatively seamlessly. There are other feature sets that we want to add before we do a full public launch. However, we are continuously layering in select groups of people into the application. We've gotten very positive feedback so far. A couple of my favorite pieces of feedback were this is the most uncrypto crypto experience I've ever had. That was probably my favorite. I think the other one was we had a group that got to experience Vybe on testnet very early before we had even launched on mainnet. And they immediately reached out to us and said, "We are at lunch. Can we get main access? We're at lunch. I want someone to pay me for the burrito I just bought them at the Mexican restaurant that we are at with Vybe." So there's clear demand. There's clear demand for the solution, particularly people that are working crypto and generating income in crypto. And socializing with other people that are doing the same, like, it resonates very strongly. I think with respect to like a target launch date for public availability, we still have work to do to kind of layer in specific functionality that we want within the experience. I just, as an example, that zero fee cross chain, zero gas fee cross chain bridge that Mitch talked about is something that we're actively working on. We see that as super big value add to enabling people to get funds into their Vybe account very easily, and we want that there before launch. Another function that we didn't talk about is actually autoswap on transfer. And this effectively enables someone to specify a currency of choice. As you're well aware, there's a ton of currencies out there in the ecosystem. If you don't want to deal with the volatility of a given currency, you can specify a currency of choice, say USDC, and receive all incoming transfers, regardless of what the sender is sending to you in that particular currency. Again, we see that as value add. The sender and the receiver don't have to coordinate a given currency for a transfer. And that's something that we want in the application at public launch, and that we're actively working on. With respect to a specific like launch dates, we'll say we're targeting late summer, early fall for public launch. So, we're a 3-person team right now, moving as quickly as possible. That is our target. Obviously, things can change. Don't pin me down and hold me to that, but that's our internal target as of right now.
That's awesome.
Yeah. I think if you wanted to engage with Vybe, if you wanted to stay up to date, you can follow us on Twitter at letsvybe, and there's a little underscore at the end of it. And more importantly, you can sign up for the wait list. We are granting users access, waitlist users early access to the test flight version of the application selectively and kind of rolling out small groups of people over time. So if you want early access to the application and you want to be able to check it out before public launch, the best chance that you have of doing so is to sign up for the waitlist at letsvybe.co. And Vybe is spelled B-Y-B-E.
Awesome.
Cool.
Yeah, it was a pleasure chatting with you too. I learned a lot about smart contract wallet, or not a wallet. I think, the early user feedback is very encouraging, and best of luck for you guys launching Vybe mainnet.
Yeah. Awesome. Thank you so much, Amber. We appreciate the time.
Thanks, Amber.